Trace, you're a veteran of disaster coverage, sadly, going back 20, 25 years. When you look across, how would you put this into context?
Well, you know, in the early days of Katrina, it looked like this, right? And the difference between Katrina and this is that they knew the water was coming, and it kind of came in a little more slowly. Katrina had all rushed in at once, but, you know, as you go from Houston, and then you go over here to Beaumont and to Port Arthur, I've just never seen 100, 200, 300 miles of flooding as bad as we've seen here. Katrina clearly was from New Orleans up and down the Gulf Coast to Mississippi and had horrific damage. But I will tell you, damage-wise, Shep, I mean, death toll-wise, I don't think we will ever see anything like Katrina, and God willing we don't. But damage-wise, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this right here. I mean, when we got to the Southeast Asian tsunami back in 2005, the devastation was immeasurable. The death toll as well. But I have never seen anything like this in my life when it comes to just sheer water for hundreds of miles. I mean, someone did the calculation saying there's enough water down there where Niagara Falls could run on it for 15 days. And if you've ever seen the amount of water that comes over Niagara Falls, that is saying something. 22, 25 inches of rain, depending on the forecaster you get these numbers from, hit Beaumont in 24 hours. Same in Port Arthur. The water came flooding in. I mean, you talk about an encore for Hurricane Harvey. I mean, come on. It hit first, a Category 4. It went to Houston, devastated the city, and then it made its way back out to the Gulf and came back onto water, picked up 25 inches, not just over water, but because the ground was so saturated, picked up more energy over the ground and then came back to Beaumont and did this. And look at the homes below us. These are cases where at least there's a road accessible. So it was easy to come in and get these people by boat. A lot of these neighborhoods are well away from any road that's dry, much more difficult situation. You know, and this is going on for miles and miles. We could show you this all over Beaumont. And right now, it's kind of, you have interesting scenarios because we just saw a Black Hawk over there land on the highway where a group of people are waiting. So they land on the highway, they shut it down, they pick up the rescue victims, and then they move them off to either hospitals or shelters. So, you know, the vastness of it, Shep, is horrific on scale.
You know, normally in flood zones, you see areas of flooding and then vast areas of green grass. Here, it's the complete opposite.
You know, and that's exactly right. You know, and I look around here, and even in the areas that are supposed to have water, you look over here, there's a marina. Over there, you can see some of the boats and the bayous. All the watersheds, I mean, in the Houston area and surrounding Harris County, all the watersheds, the 22 of them, we're talking about the bayous and the creeks, they were over capacity. Just yesterday, the San Jacinto River, which was flooding into Lake Houston and Lake Conroe, just yesterday it started to recede. So while they're starting to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief over the Houston area, man, it is all hands on deck here in Beaumont and Port Arthur because they are just getting started. And this water is rising. Even though the rain stopped about an hour or 2 hours ago and the forecast is supposed to clear up, you still have all these watersheds with all this water, and that water wants to make its way back to the Gulf of Mexico. And to do that, the water has to come through these places. Water goes from north to south, and to do that, Shep, these areas are going to get more water in the coming days. So the rain stopped, but the water is still rising, and man, oh man, if you look down here, you can see that this has got a big kind of fence all the way around it, so even if you were on a boat, you'd have a tough time getting off, hopping over the fence because of the different waterways. This is one of those places where definitely the helicopters came in handy all day long today.